notice that your center time is taking a bit of a nosedive and you're having to interrupt your small groups too often? In this video, I'm going to share with you a few tips to keep your students engaged during center time. I am Angela Griffith, and I help teachers to create positive learning experiences for the students in their classroom. Sometimes when we're halfway through the school year, our center time can kind of get a little bit rowdy. Students are not as engaged, you're having to redirect a lot, and then it interrupts your small group time. This definitely does not work for me, because when my center time is on point, then I can devote my full attention to the students at my small group table and give them the time and attention that they deserve and need. So my first tip is to have a variety of centers available. Now by that I don't mean you need 30 different stations, but I do like to have a good mix of academic and fun centers. You heard me right, I said fun centers, and let me explain. The academic centers allow my students to practice what skills we have been learning in class, and the fun centers allow for creativity and exploration. By having both of these different types of centers available, it keeps them motivated and excited about center time. It gives them the chance to develop academically as well as socially, because we know that this is something that our students come in and they struggle with it. So I know what you're thinking. How do you get away with fun centers? So I have a STEM center in my room, and I also have a dramatic play center, otherwise known as the kitchen. And I created these signs, and I have them available for you in a blog post. I'll leave it linked for you below. But I have these signs up at each center. Matter of fact, twice this year we've had a walkthrough at my school. We're a Science of Reading Spotlight school, and these were the two centers that I got a lot of feedback about. The people who walked through were so excited to see age-appropriate things, but I could also tie it back into other skills in addition to literacy and math. So if you want to grab these, just check out the link below in the description. So my next tip is to keep students engaged by giving them choices. Now I know that sounds like a lot too, and I still don't mean give them 30 different choices. We know that when students have a choice, then they take ownership over what they're learning. So at every center, I try to include 2 options. So see, that's not a lot. 2 options. What I have found is that they choose the option that they're most comfortable with. And if they're learning in the process, then that is fine with me. They are more invested in the center and they explore their options. And sometimes I can hear healthy conversations, especially if they want their classmate that's at the center with them to do the same activity. When we give little ones autonomy over their learning, it empowers them and engages them in the learning process. Who knew that something as simple as choosing between 2 activities would do the trick? So my next tip is to ensure that they even know how to do the center. In my younger years, in my earlier teaching years, I switched out centers too often. Now we don't want to keep a center out the whole year, though to tell you the truth, with dramatic play in the STEM center, you really can, because they're engaged the whole time even though everything is the same. But for other centers, you do want to change them out, but not too often. I got to a point where I changed them out every week, and they never really got a chance to get to mastery with that content or with that center. Now there is one caveat. You're always going to have a student or two who are unable to grasp some of the centers, period, no matter how many times you go over it. And so I always try and pair them with a buddy who will help them. But this shouldn't be the majority of your class. So this is where I have found great success. I like to take what I have used in whole group instruction and then put it into centers. So a lot of the activities that they encounter in centers we have done together whole group. So that really clears up a lot of confusion and a lot of misinformation because they've seen it before. So even if the phonics skill is something new or something like that, we have done the activity several times together in whole group. Since I have switched to this model, centers run a lot more smoothly. So above all, I would say simplify. If you've done these things and things are still kind of crazy, simplify. If you're somebody that probably has 30 centers, that may be a little bit too much. And I know 30 is an exaggeration, but simplicity is key. If you think that you need to go back to the beginning, as in you need to burn it all down and start over, I've also done a previous video about how I launch my literacy stations. You can check it out right here.